Hey, true believers. Chris Matt coming at you with the Dawn of X Hellions #1. And I gotta say, for a #1, let's put it this way. For a #1, sadly, I was underwhelmed. There's some good ideas in here. But usually when a #1 hits, you kind of want to get into the thick of it. And this one just kind of feels more build up. So what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we open up and you think, okay, cool, we're starting out in San Francisco. We kind of see an X-Force team. We see Logan, which at first I thought this was Jean, but that's Siren. And I always forget this guy's name. He's always the dude that runs with Anoli in the New Mutants. And I cannot rock something. But anyway, cool page. And then while that's happening, you notice that Alex is really starting to act like a jerk, because Alex is always more like he's stern like his brother, but he's got a soft heart too, like his brother. So check this. They're at the he's basically calling these dealers, he goes, no, these guys are idiots. More likely a rich bigot wanted to help dumber, poor bigots celebrate the anniversary of the Mutant Massacre with another one. And Kurt always tries to be, kind of the devil's advocate here. And he goes, it's dangerous to assume they're all out to get us, Havoc. Are you teaching me? Did I stumble into one of your Bible studies? Never have I seen Havoc talk to a friend like that, especially Kurt, especially all the stuff that they've been through the Claremont years, the 90s. What's going on? And you see here, look at Havoc, and look at the way he's talking. He starts laughing, he goes, I'm going to have fun with you. And this guy goes, you don't scare me. Not for much longer. No. What the hell is going on with Alex? And so this is where it gets kind of interesting, because you start to get sort of like horror elements. So again, this is Hellions #1. I'm not going to get into the whole Krakoa language. I'm so over that I could scream. This is Zeb Wells writing. Now, at first I thought when I saw Zeb, I thought this was Jim Zub, but Zeb Wells. I don't know if I've read anything else by him. If you guys can think of something, let me know down in the comments. Steven Segovia is doing the art, which is really nice. David Carell's the colors. VC's Corey Petit doing the lettering. And then you come down here, issue 1, Let Them Be Snakes, which is very apt for this book. So we jump into the Quiet Council, and we're kind of doing this sort of Quentin Tarantino style, where we sort of jump back and forth. We know like Chapter 1, Chapter 4, Chapter 2. And that's kind of what we're getting here, because we see something's going on with Alex. And they're asking, well, what are we going to do with all of these characters? So as you can see here, even though it's not expressly stated, you see Alex. This is Manny and Orphan Maker. This is, what the hell is his name? Hang on a second. It'll come to me. Scalp Hunter. And then Wild Child, which just out of the blue. Because I haven't seen Kyle in anything since the Age of Apocalypse. And then Empath. I'm not 100% sure on Empath. I think he was a New Mutants villain. I think he was a student of Emma Frost when the Hellions were the Hellions back in the Massachusetts branch before Generation X. But yeah, let me know down in the comments more about Empath here. And then, of course, Orphan Maker and Manny were part of, I think, the Wolverine comics, I think during the Larry Hama era. And then, of course, the Mutant Massacre here, which we'll get into in a minute. So then, just in, true Tarantino fashion, we'll see like the crimes of Manuel de la Rocha, a.k.a. Empath. And we sort of get an idea on his power. Because look at how this guy, I think his name's Jetstream or something like that, look at how he's irritated at Empath, and then just all of a sudden, his mood changes. So that makes me wonder about what's going on with Alex there. And then the Empath problem. So just like the Krakoan language, this is another thing that I'm growing very quickly wary of. Yes, it gives some good information, and it kind of explains how Empath is sort of like a sociopath. but I'd rather be shown, not told. And that's like in House of X and Powers of 10, I can understand why they did this. It helped because there's a lot of information they had to throw at you. But now it's just kind of like, I don't want to read an essay when I read a comic. Come on, let's get past this. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff. If you guys want to, pause it, read it, check it out for yourself. And then we get into the Passion of Manny and the Orphan Maker. So we see Angel and Beast, which 2 of the original 5 right there working together, which I think is really cool. But Orphan Maker wants to see Nanny. And some stuff goes on, check it out. But Nanny starts singing to Orphan Maker, and check this out. She goes, "The fire is hot, the orphans are made. Rest your pretty head. We both know what comes next. When all bad parents lay dead. Drink, drink from Nanny. Wet your thirsty tongue. Drink, drink from Nanny. Then we free the young." And just very much echoes what I was thinking. Wow. Yeah. Oof, chilly. So yeah, Nanny and Orphan Maker. Make sure to check out the Wolverine comics when they were kind of first introduced. Now, again, Kyle. This goes back and it says, the curious condition of Kyle Gibney. You know, I don't know, because it isn't really expressly stated in the Age of Apocalypse that Sabretooth tamed Wildchild, so we don't know about that. I mean, we know he has a temper just like Sabretooth. So if you guys know if he's made any other appearance, I don't even know if he was in Exiles. So let me know down in the comments, but I've never seen Kyle that I can think of in the 616 universe. So it's kind of a welcome surprise, but I'm not used to seeing him as like a berserker jerk, if you get my case there. Or my drift, my case. Now we go into Scalp Hunter. It says the ghosts that haunt John Greycrow, who is Scalp Hunter. And we see Calypso and the Morlocks, and they basically want to attack him for the Mutant Massacre. Which, if you guys have not read the Mutant Massacre, that was one of those like definitive X-Men events. Check out the event. It started in Uncanny X-Men 210, which that issue is really a pain to get your hands on, but it's a good read. Tragic, but good. And again, I know I use tragic a lot. But a lot of times, you know, drama and whatnot is what makes for good storytelling. So I kind of like that Wells here really kind of harkens back to some good storytelling. So you see Calypso saying, "Take him, Morlocks. Those who fall will be reborn." And I know I've seen this one around before, but I can never remember a lot of the Morlocks' names. Now we go back to the Quiet Council, and we see Alex and Scott's like, "Get out of there. You put my brother in the circle of judgment without telling me." Now look at this. The only one that's heartbroken in this panel is Kurt. Because if you read, I cannot remember the issue that we went over where we start talking about the resurrection, not the resurrection protocol, but the battle royale where they can kill mutants in order to bring them back. What issue of X-Men was that? Number 7. And Cyclops is talking to Kurt about the barbaricness of it. So you can kind of understand how Kurt may have a conscience here, but look at his wife and his longtime friend and fellow leader. Stone cold stares. This is the business of the council. Which, you know, you understand why he's up here, because he did hurt humans, which is against Krakoan law. Get it? And Kurt even throws in, he goes, "He was going to kill them, Scott. He would have if Logan hadn't stopped him." Logan. Now check this. I love this panel because I'm glad that at least somebody's questioning that something is not right in the state of Denmark in this universe that's been created by Hickman. Magneto says, had there been a death, there'd be no discussion. No choice but to exile him to the pit. And that pit is where Sabretooth is. And I like how Scott on the other side says, in that case, I would have no choice either. So you see that Scott and Wolverine are onto something. Something is not right with all this Krakoan business. Now, Sinister devises a plan saying that You know, majority of these mutants, such as like Scalp Hunter and Orphan Maker, derive pleasure from their X gene. He goes, they know quiet only in carnage, peace only in violence, tranquility only in insanity. If that is how they best express their gifts, who are we to stop them? Is not the expression of their mutation a birthright? Magneto agrees that it might be law. Cyclops ejects. Again, stone cold stares. You know, the greater good. Your objections are heard, Scott. I promise you, but the Quiet Council will decide how to proceed. Now leave us. This is not my Jean and Storm. They would have been on Cyclops' side. This is just a facade. Again, more reading. Now, Hellions is the book that takes place of Fallen Angels, because Hill's run ended, and then they jumped into here. So this is kind of where we get back to Quanon. I think is how you pronounce her name, and I like how it says the damnable duty of Quanon. And Cyclops visits her because he knows that she's taken over this team that's going to basically be run by Sinister. And he asks her to take it easy on Alex, because Alex really shouldn't be there. Something's wrong with him, but we don't know what yet. And so we're introduced to the team. We see Sinister kind of give a half-hearted, pep talk, and basically leaves it to Quanon. And the whole point here is they got to go to one of Sinister's old mansions where he was kind of doing the DNA cloning, and because of the 5, it's kind of rendered him obsolete. And Sinister's like, yeah, I kind of let it go, so yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. And Quanon's like, you're not telling me something. And he goes, of course I'm not. Where would the fun be in that? So you see that there's all these scum and villainy is the best word I can think of it, and they got to work as a team, especially here with a Scalp Hunter and a Wild Child. You can already see that tensions are coming to a head. And then again, you get back to the horror element, which I think is interesting and which I'm enjoying in the Wolverine books. You start seeing all this, the blood dripping, you're seeing bodies hanging, you're seeing mouths being warped, and we've seen a hand doing it. Now, the person doing this we have not seen in a long time. I thought we'd never see this character again, which is kind of welcomed, but sort of kind of goes back into the whole why. You know what I mean? But I don't want to spoil it. You want to know who I'm talking about? It is a big name, and it's a big name that we've not seen in a while, but we've seen a lot of homages to in terms of like fan art and whatnot. So yeah, Hellions #1. I understand why they have to kind of build it up, but I kind of wish in a sense we could have got more into the thick of it instead of a lot of sitting and talking. I'd like to see more action and more, I don't know, just like the team build in a sense. I mean, they kind of did that, but it was more talking instead of, you know, being shown. So Hellions #1, I'll give 7 out of 10. Still worth the read. And if you guys have enjoyed this comic book, please make sure to support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. And if you've enjoyed this review, we definitely appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And we'd appreciate it if you could hit that little Krakoa bell next to subscribe. That way, as we continue to upload content, you guys can come to the page, and we'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.